Good morning and welcome to another episode of Thoughts of a Trillionaire. And again, today is talking about I don't really know. It's going to be random. What is it going to be? Technology, of course. Not really random. But I was listening to a lot of A16Z podcasts again yesterday. It's been a while since I listened to it, so it's good catching up on them. And I really like what they were talking about when they were discussing, well, basically the last 10 or so of their podcasts were talking, in one way or another, we're talking about where technology is going and effects to new things that are coming out right now. And one of the biggest take-home points that I really liked from the dude that, I forgot his name, but he wrote Sapiens in his writing, or just wrote Homo Deus, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, thoughts about tomorrow. He was talking about how technology creates things, creates innovations, it creates possibilities, opportunities. And the point of it is not, it doesn't tell itself what to do, basically. Technology comes to us, comes out from us, but it doesn't really dictate how we use it. It is up to us to decide how that technology gets applied and how that technology gets distributed as well. And so, in so doing, we create our own problems and we create our own solutions. Technology doesn't do that for us. Technology is just the tool, really. It's just the aggregator, the enhancer, I suppose you can say. It augments everything we do and brings it to another higher power and a higher level of being able to execute that thing. So what's kind of scary at the same time promising about the future is that for the first time in history, we have technologies that will literally change every asset of human society and civilization. That means the fear is much greater. Because before, when new technology came out, all the way from sticks and stones, from stone tools, from basic weaponry, that was scary and all. It allowed a person to kill another person. But it progressively got crazier from there. Bombs allowed people to kill allowed one person to kill a whole squadron of other people. And that's just talking about from basic bombs, and then it goes on into atomic nuclear bombs all the way to today, where one bomb can not only can it destroy an entire city with hundreds of thousands of people, maybe even millions, but it can also affect the global climate as well, and which would, if there are too many nuclear bombs go off all at once, it would destroy everybody. Would destroy all of human race. But I don't want to act as if these negative things are the only things out there. Technology is also incredibly amazing. It's because of technology that we finally went from hunting and gathering, which we're kind of stuck in for about hundreds of thousands of years. We went from there to building of civilizations with the advent of ancient Egypt and or rather Kemet, or whatever you want to call it. And then on to Mesopotamia and China and all that. And thanks to these different forms of technology, we were able to record our thoughts, record our knowledge and experiences and stories, and pass them on to the next generation. So it's all thanks to technology that we were even able to kind of materialize our consciousness. We oftentimes think of different animals, or we are animals, but we often think ourselves above animals because we can pass on our knowledge, because we can communicate effectively. And most of that, the vast majority of that communication stems from technology. If we were never able to create tools to defend ourselves, to protect our loved ones, to describe where we are, who we are, what we're thinking, then we would never be able to even think ourselves above other animals, because we would be just the same as them. The octopus is an incredibly intelligent being in the ocean, as well as the dolphin and the whale. Especially the dolphins, they have such amazing social patterns, probably more complex than our own, but they're unable to restore and record information. Therefore, they don't have an effective way to pass stories and patterns and information from one generation to the next. And so they probably end up doing the same things over and over again for years and years, just like we did in our hunter and gathering stage. I'm not even sure if dolphins will be able to create their own tools, because as we see them, we need appendages for tools. Maybe they'll be able to create their own, but I don't know. The point is that technology is an incredible boon as well as a bane. And it's not because of technology itself, it's because how we use it. Therefore, when it comes to the technology today, when it comes to AI, big data, privacy, and or privacy risks, devices like smartphones that can not only connect us to the world's information, but also inundate us with all of the world's information. Not only is this a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. Not only is it a thing to fear, but it's a thing to praise. And so when we go into to this idea of thinking about AI, we need to not just doomsay. We can't be like, oh, AI is going to take our jobs, or robots are going to take our jobs. We're all going to be a bunch of lazy piece of craps just sitting there like the things from Wall-E, or robots are going to come up and kill us all, or somebody's going to invent a mass bioweapon to kill everybody. We focus way too much on the negativity, and that means that we're only going to create these negative reactions, these negative paths. It's good to think of the worst case scenario, but when you do not balance that with the best case scenario, and when you do not think and plan for succeeding, then you will fail. So it's foolish of us to think about AI in such a way that it's only going to be negative, or that the negative is inevitable. We need to instead think about how we want to use our technology. And this is a great time, if not the first and only time, that we're even able to do that. Because prior to this, when we came up with new technology, one person or one group of people came up with that technology in their area. They came up with for instance, a new weapon or a new medicine. And they came up with it in their society, in their civilization, right? But nobody else in the world will even know what they're doing, because they simply have no way to communicate with them. And that's why technology has been a cumulative and incredibly exponentially increasing effect since the 1900s, because we had ways to communicate what we were doing. So somebody came up with the car, with the automotive vehicle, and not only did they just sit around in their town creating it, but they told other people that they were creating it. And so other people found out about this idea even while it was in the idea stage, and were able to think of ways that they can use it before it was even created. They're able to prepare for it. When the Model T came out, and they were able to, create, it was really slow going. It took like decades to really pick up on the public. But once it did, it was far more efficient and far more able to spread, because people were able to think ahead of time. Okay, we're going to build roads now instead of just having dirt paths. We're going to build pavement for these cars to drive on, and such as that. We thought about building infrastructure for our technology, and so that was even compounded when we came up with the so-called information age. When computers came out, we realized that this is a incredibly fast way to communicate information, and we're gonna need infrastructure to build that. Other companies were like, okay, we can offer this service to the public, to other customers, and so they will build infrastructure from one city to another, so you can pick up the phone now and call somebody across the world. That is planning. That is realizing that technology is coming, and we need to build infrastructure in it for it to go a certain way. If we would have just doomsayed the technology of computers and cell phones all day, then we would have been stuck with smartphones being just for the military, where only the elite or only the armed forces had this ability to call people and to call each other from anywhere in the world. Clearly, that's a worst case scenario. That would be pretty bad for most of us, because we would be stuck in our areas. We would be stuck in our towns, subject to propaganda, subject to authoritarianism, subject to pretty much just straight limitation of not only our freedoms, but our not only our freedoms of movement, but our freedoms of thought. Just imagine if the internet was not open to the public. That would have been the worst case scenario, but it's not. And so with this same mindset, we need to go into the next level of creativity, next level of technology, by creating a path for AI to follow. So when we come up with the next stage of automotive vehicles, we can't just be like, oh, nobody's going to have any jobs. All these truck drivers are going to be out. This is blah, 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 crying and moaning. We need to instead find the opportunities that's in this area. And there are bunches of opportunities that can be had, such as having people that operate the automotive paths, and people that even create more roads for these automotive vehicles. So when people live in their towns, now that they have automated vehicles, so they don't have to pay autonomous vehicles, so you don't have to pay drivers to go back and forth, and you don't have to worry about them crashing to this or that or whatever. You can now focus more on how to distribute rather than how to get from point A to point B, because a computer would do that for you. So now all you got to do is figure out, okay, who can have access to it, or how can we let everyone have access to these different distribution channels? That's a major opportunity to be had right there in autonomous vehicles, and that's just that alone. Now we're talking about AI, in which augments every job, from freaking flipping burgers to crunching numbers for financial returns and risk analyses and stuff like that. Every one of these jobs are quote unquote at risk of being quote unquote stolen, but is also is also an opportunity to be augmented and be enhanced to the point where the person who would usually flip the burger can instead focus on getting real experience with their jobs and getting real knowledge and getting money by using AI in their own lives to, launch their YouTube channel or launch their book that they want to do, or even just stay on social media and connect with people. Because the natural human tendency is not to sit. The natural human I just lost the word. Basically, humans don't just sit down and allow themselves to be bored. We hate being bored. We will do everything to find something interesting to do. That doesn't just stand for just entertaining ourselves. We also like to live fulfilled lives. And so AI will allow every single person to do that. But only if we have a plan of infrastructure, by allowing each person to have their own AI, each person to have their own personal virtual assistant or super smart supercomputer that will not only like this smartphones allow them to connect with and entertain themselves, but also allow them to be more productive and allow them to push themselves out as well. And because AI will be able to, analyze everything from our psychology to our biology to our economic status to our talents and genomics and everything like that, they will better be able to suggest how we can get out of our comfort zones. How we can get out our comfort zones and create and do and just proliferate with the knowledge and wants and needs and desires that we want to do. Every one of us has a dream to live a life where we feel fulfilled, where we feel like we can do what we want to do on our terms. Sometimes that may be doing a lot of entertainment, but even that in itself is pretty profitable. Look at professional gaming. Nonetheless, anything we do to feel fulfilled can be augmented and can be enhanced and can be empowered by AI. And so AI is not the one that will steal our jobs. It'll be the one that will help create more than we would ever even think possible. AI is a saver. Thank you. Bye-bye.